We
I'll
should be
retweet it.
live. Should be up now.
It's live.
Yay!
Yes.
Uh, we'll wait 35 seconds.
The Dopa Kitty.
Meow. Sucks. I think I'm coming down with a cold. Boo.
Bad time to come down with a cold.
Yeah, but that's why I got like 3 of these. It helps.
That's not going to help your cold.
Energy drinks for a cold. That's
It's my
the
medicine. Leave me
proven
alone.
cure right there.
Nah.
It's good medicine. Never get sick with that.
This is my medicine.
No,
I
no.
actually like the sugar-free rock stars better than the real ones.
Never had them.
You
You know what
should
you
try
should try?
'em.
You should try Punch. Punch Rockstars. They're awesome.
Actually, I'll probably try that. Something about the
You know what you need to try?
Don't do it.
Chicken and
Oh.
waffles.
Can't believe that's a chip. That's just a weird bag of chips.
Wait, chicken and waffle flavored potato chips?
Yeah, it's Lay's
Extreme.
chicken and waffles. Apparently, it tastes like chicken and maple syrup.
It tastes like maple syrup with a hint of waffle. Not much chicken.
It's a weird.
It's pretty nasty. It tastes like something that you would get off the floor of a Denny's.
All right.
All right, it's
Gotta
9 go.
Hey, we're back with another episode of Elder Scrolls Uncovered, episode 12. In this episode, we're going to be talking about immersion, and of course, the question of the week that Rapid really loves this week, actually. He found out what it was this week, and he's like, oh man, I can't wait to talk about it.
Right.
So, let's introduce who we have this week. This week we have Altair.
Yo.
We have Guri.
Guess who?
Wait, was that your actual voice this time?
Yep.
Nice. Rapid. With his big cup. And the Dova Kitty.
Faso.
So, this week they released. They actually released quite a bit of information this week. But first, let's start off with the question of the week. It was a little bit better than last week. I mean, at least we were able to think of something instead of having to research stuff. This week it was, if you were to make a guild, not a player guild, like a mage guild, fire guild, etc., what would it be and what would its name be? So let's start off with the Dova Kitty.
That's quite difficult. The only thing I would actually probably do, it would be some sort of holy order, some sort of paladin-esque type of thing. As far as the name, I can't say if that's gonna be tough, but it would be it would be a warrior-esque type guild, but just mainly like just the holy order type of thing.
That's not bad. I don't think there's even, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Skyrim and Morrowind, there really isn't that holy guild or holy faction that you could really join, is there?
The closest thing to my knowledge is the Blades, and not that they're holy, just that their purpose of protecting the Emperor and all the fun stuff of Cyrodiil.
All right, let's jump over to Altair. What do you think, Altair? What would be the guild you would create, and what would its name be?
Well, Glenn took my idea, so I'll have to come up
Sorry.
with something else. Well, I would go with something on the complete opposite end, since Glenn took my idea, the guild that is there to ruin the entire world and stem the world with evil and conquer everything.
I can see you being the one that wants to kill everything. What about you, Gooey?
What? Make a guild of muscle-bound people boys. Seriously though, I'd probably do more of an explorers, a traveling type guild, where the whole point is to see the world explore, make peace, and contact with other factions. Um, that's mainly because I love anthropology type stuff. So being able to go to different races, to different cultures, to different lands, and seeing uh, how they can connect would be a favorite for me. I don't know what I would call it though. Maybe Wesley Arm Paper Boys bringing the good news.
That's just weird. Just for one more time. Let's hear it again. What's the name of your guild?
Wesley Arm Paper Boys.
That was a little bit too feminine there.
It was, but it's still
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
Oh, wait, he's gonna go again.
Where's the Wesley Arm Paper Boy bringing me some good news today?
It's just weird. All right, Rapid. This was your favorite question. Let's hear it. What's the name of your guild and what is it?
I just want to preface this that I really hate these questions. I think they're stupid. But I don't know. If they're meaning like guild in game, like the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild, and not an actual guild, I'm gonna go with the Heroes of the Battle Goats. It's a group of heroes that actually ride around on battle goats and slay dragons or dargons, however you want to say it. And they generally just do awesome stuff.
Can I join?
Yes, membership's open as long as you bring your own goat.
Battle coats.
So let's go back. Last week's question was who killed the Dwemmers? Was that your
Where did
guild,
they go?
Rapid? The Battle Goats.
The battle goats killed the Dwemmers, yeah.
So I gotta ask, your guild is BYOG?
Right, bring your own battle goat. No, I mean like what do they want to accomplish with these questions? I guess they're just trying to get like community interaction, but I don't know because it's just like you ask the community a question, the community responds, and it's like there's no dialogue there, right? There's no like, oh, we'll implement some of that stuff into the game, or it's just like, where do you think the Dwemer went? If you could make a guild, what would it be? I don't know. It's
You know they're going to take our best ideas and put them in the game without giving us any credit.
well, I think that's in the beta NDA that they can do that. So
You don't have to worry about that, Gooey.
What you talking about?
I understand the reason to the questions. Like, I mean, they want exactly what you said, community involvement, and I think they do. They do a really good part trying to get people involved. Really, there's no other options that they can do to get people involved into their games other than the lore questions, asking them, what would you guys do if you had the opportunity to do something? So I understand that. Like I said, I like this question a lot better than last week's question that really meant nothing to the game. Like, where did Dwarmers go? I don't know. There's no lore on like there is lore on them, but nobody knows where they went. So sure, we can make up our own lore to it, but I mean, at least this question, it allows us to do a little bit of play. We potentially an idea that they can take and put into the game, which I like. But yeah, I had a little bit of nerd rage this week when I saw it. I saw when I was reading it, they did her title. She's the UI creator. I was like, oh, finally, they're going to ask us questions as to what we want in the UI. No, that's not what we got. So I was a little nerd raged about that. But let's jump into the main topic, immersion. What keeps us playing? I mean, I played World of Warcraft for, what is it? 9 years now? 9 years? 10 years? I don't know. I've been playing since closed beta, off and on.
Too long.
Way too long. I played Dark Age Camelot before that. Like, really, what keeps us playing? Like, Glenn, you've been playing since TBC, Altair, TBC, GUI, you started TBC. So what keeps us playing? Like, let's start off with Altair.
First, I started playing since vanilla. Second, what keeps me playing? Well, what kept me playing for WoW originally was the content, the difficulty of the content, rating. Back in vanilla and TBC, you had to work together and actually be good at what you did to succeed. I enjoyed that sense of achievement. Of course, everybody here loves your epic purples and stuff like that, but I think what really keeps me going is the community of people that you meet and play with, because the online gaming community is different than any type of community you'll ever meet. You meet people from all different parts of the world. Let's take our guild for example. We have people from the East Coast, West Coast, the South, the Midwest, Canada, Australia, all different types of nationalities. I mean, it just brings everybody together, and that having friends from all over the world and stuff like that is what keeps me going.
What about you, Gooey? What keeps your gears lubed?
Yeah, you could have picked better words for that. Um,
No, I couldn't.
with I started at the very end of Burning Crusade, like 2 weeks before Wrath came out, and I started playing because I was playing with my brother. So much like Altair, it was because of the community I was playing with. I was playing with his friends from college, his roommates, and we raided together and all that. But what kept me going through Lich King was how um, they took old parts of the stories with Nax, redid it, brought it back into the forefront. They took current parts of the story with Alduar and with Trial of the Crusader, and they worked it. They worked a good story into it, and then they worked the Lich King end to end it, and that was great because that was the pinnacle of the story, all the way from Warcraft 3 until now. That finished the story arc there. That kept me going, knowing that they were actually putting out a good story, knowing that they were tying it up. They weren't leaving loose ends. They were making sure that they were putting a good final effort into one of their main characters, and that kept me going for a while because I loved seeing all the lore come to life because I didn't know much about the Warcraft series before I started playing WoW, and when I learned the lore and when I started seeing it, that kept me going. So
Yeah, I think WoW has. I would. WoW probably has one of the biggest lore-based games next to Elder Scrolls, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of games out there that have a lot of lore, but I mean, continuity and going back and getting a full history on specific characters. I think WoW and ESO has a great, well, not ESO, but Elder Scrolls in general has a great base to start from.
Well, both games, if you look at it, are starting somewhat similar in the MMO world. WoW had Warcraft 1 through 3. Elder Scrolls has all their single-player games, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Daggerfall, such and such. So they started off with the single-player games and moved up to the MMO world. They both have, like you said, huge amounts of lore. So it's definitely that type of genre that I think lasts longer. Though someone mentioned, I just wanted to comment, someone mentioned in chat that they're hoping SO will be the next big adventure and WoW will be over. That would be nice, but the community that is in WoW is large and they've been playing together for years, so as long as Blizzard keeps making a profit and keeps pushing out expansions, I don't think that community will ever die. Though I think with Elder Scrolls coming out and being as big as it is, with the lore that it has and the possibilities that this game could have, I think it will definitely hurt the WoW community much more than recent MMOs such as Guild Wars and SWTOR has.
I was talking with my brother earlier about how the Warcraft story went, where it went from 1 to 2 to 3, and then into WoW, and where do you go now? One thing that I hope that Tesso does is that it doesn't kill the Elder Scrolls series. Because if Skyrim was the last installment in the single player series, like it has been with many games that turn into MMOs, the series just kind of ceased to be single player. And I would hate to see that. So I hope that they don't fall into the same thing that Blizzard has, where they keep printing money pretty much with their MMO and then stop developing games in that IP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Elder Scrolls Online game is set 1,000 years before any of the single player games, so they can do that. So they can do anything MMO related is before the actual single player games are out, but the single player games can continue after Skyrim. So I think they help themselves in that aspect, as Elder Scrolls Online is before any of the video games, as to being after, which would pretty much make any Elder Scrolls Online, any Elder Scrolls single player games to cease and desist. So they can still work on both IP platforms and make successful games for both MMO and single player games because of the fact that they set the setting for 1,000 years before the single player games.
Yeah. I like this topic. I want to hold on to this topic. I just want to jump over to Rapid and find out what's keeping him play MMOs.
Um, I'm not so much of a lore guy, but I mean it is important to a game. The thing that keeps me playing, I would say, the things that are important to an MMO, I guess, surviving and keeping people playing would be, solid in-game PvE. You have to have that progression. You have to keep people interested in the game, like wanting to progress through content. End up doing that with gear. You end up doing that with achievements to a certain point, um, and then just engaging PvP. Some way you can progress your character is the biggest thing. I mean, we all kind of saw in SWTOR, after a certain point, you really couldn't progress your character at all. So, like, why did you want to keep playing? And most people didn't. So, but for me personally, the thing that keeps me going is competitive progression rating. I love that sense of accomplishment, knowing that you're the top X guild out of however many hundreds or thousands.
Yeah, I think that's new content is definitely a good thing and the competitive edge for certain people. What about you, Glenn? What kept you going into World of Warcraft and SWTOR?
Would be progression in community, which is really why I'm not going anymore in SWTOR for the most part. Um, but yeah, it's progression in community. Lore is important to me, but not so. Like I can do the lore stuff on my own for the most part. I mean it's cool, but it's only going to keep me around for so long. What keeps you forever is in my opinion, community.
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much summed it up. I mean, community is a big one. You got to have a nice, solid community, especially in an MMO. I mean, that's the massively multiplayer part, right? Um, and like Rabbit said, the competitive edge is a really big part as well. So let's talk about questing in Elder Scrolls games and what we can expect from Elder Scrolls Online. World of Warcraft, I think, I don't want to say basically cut that area out of stone as to how it's done, but a lot of games have seemed to have adapted the World of Warcraft type of quest, like where there's a giant exclamation mark. There's some form of notification that users can have to say, "Hey, look, there's something for me to do over here." Elder Scrolls doesn't usually have something like that in their games. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Elder Scrolls Online is going to adapt the WoW style, or do you think it's going to keep the Elder Scrolls style where it requires the player to be interactive with the environment?
I think it's
Well,
going to be a bit of both. I think they're going to have hey, there's something here for you to do, but you're still going to have to interact with the environment. So I would kind of go with the best option here to kind of make everybody understand would be the way that SWTOR did their questing. They have something that says, "Hey, I have a quest here," but then you go into a sort of storyline mode with them, and you accept or deny the quest, or tell them they're idiots, or whatever the hell conversation dialogue you have. I think it'll be something like that, but still stay Elder Scrolls-ish with the interaction with the environment.
You were going to say something,
I,
Glenn?
I don't think we're going to have, based on what a lot of the developers have said and the quest designers, I'd actually be surprised if we see any kind of quest notifications. They really want to see complete interaction in people. I understand that the reason for the notifications is, of course, um, just to make it easier for the very casual players, but I really expect everything to be completely interactive. You have to find the right places. You have to listen to the NPCs. I think they'll still talk to you and say, "Hey, I got a job for you," or you got to listen to what they are saying. Maybe they're upset because they're missing something, and you talk to them like, "Oh, maybe you can find it for me," which is exactly how it works in your current Elder Scrolls games. I think they're going to keep it like that.
What do you think, Rapid?
I'm kind of hopeful for this new system. Um, the whole I guess WoW model is the hub and spoke, right? So you go to a hub, you get all your quests up, then you go do them. You may come back and do some chains. Once you do that, it kind of leads you to another hub. Um, what they kind of described in some of the videos was that they intended it to be more of a fluid model, so you're just going down the road, and maybe your little compass tells you there's some stuff over there. So you head over there, and then a guy runs out at you and says, save me from the werewolves, etc. I think that can be a really interesting model for actually questing in the game, as long as it's like fluid. I don't want to be running along and being like, well, where the hell do I go? Like, I already met two guys on the road who said they needed help and saved a village, but now I have no direction. So as long as there's like some sort of direction, hopefully it's with that compass. It'll always have you like a point you can go to. Um, I'll be happy with that. I think a new system would be good. There's nothing wrong with the WoW model, but this one might be a little bit more like immersive, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I think having that notification, that giant exclamation mark, in all honesty, I think it kind of ruins immersion of the game. I mean, you're running around. You don't usually have people with giant exclamations on your head. That'd be really weird. Um, so, keeping on topic of the immersions, I mean, walking up and talking to someone and then being like, "Hey, what do you want?" And they'll be like, you kind of get to know them a little bit, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? I actually need some leather boar skin or something." Then they send you out and you go kill an animal and grab its skin. I mean, not everybody's just going to be in
Foreskin.
town going, "Hey, you know what? Come here. I want to just go do this. I don't know you, but here's some gold. Go get me something." You look like you had something to say there, Gooey.
Um, just your word choice was cracking me up. But I would love to see something that is immersive. But I would like to see that with a SWOTOR style of the conversations within the main quest chain, especially. I loved how that story brought you into it. You made the choices, you chose what you were going to say, and that determined how the quest went. I enjoyed that, and I hope that that's something that they don't pass over just because it's not popular.
You don't think the SOTOR social, not social interaction, but the quest interaction of multiple choice isn't popular, or you just don't think SOTOR did it well enough?
I don't think it's popular in MMOs yet, and I would love to see it because, like you said, the main model right now is you go to a hub, you get about 5 quests, you go out, do them, lather, rinse, repeat. SWOTOR is really unique in the way that it did it, and it did it well. It told the story very well. I remember playing when I finished my Sentinel quest. I wanted to know what's going to happen next. The Emperor's dead. What's going to happen now? It drew me into it. It kept me wanting to play. Um, and if they, it isn't. I say it isn't popular because it's not in the bigger MMOs yet. It's not in the successful MMOs. I would love to see them take this and run with it because you kind of have that already, the Elder Scrolls, but not to that extent. I don't think. I might be wrong. I might be remembering it incorrectly, but
I mean, the thing is kind of like you have a limited number of resources, in my opinion. How much of that do you put towards making that awesome questing experience? And then how much do you focus on the things that people are going to be playing for 99% of the time they're playing the game? Like in-game, PvP, community, that type of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, like questings, all that stuff's really important. But I think SWOTOR just focused way too much on that and not enough on the actual game itself.
I think SOTOR did a phenomenal job when it came to story quest, planet quest. They merged very well. Like you're on a planet for a reason, and all the quests kind of lead to your storyline, kind of at the end. Um, but as to like multiple choice, like the Star Wars did, Gooey said he wants to see more of that in MMOs. In the Elder Scrolls games, you had a form of that. Like, I mean, you could kind of carry a conversation with them. You can decide on how you want to talk to them. Do you think that's going to be present in Elder Scrolls Online? Or do you think you'll just be able to talk to a guy and they say, here, go get this, and there's no dialogue in between you two?
Oh, I think there'll definitely be dialogue.
I just said in the chat that Black asked me a question. Black Horde asked me a question about if I prefer multi-choice rewards or whatever. I responded with I prefer a choice because it makes it less mindless. It makes you feel like your character is yours instead of doing a quest saying, well, I wouldn't really want to do it this way, but I have to because that's the way the quest is written and it's scripted. It gives you much more of a feeling of authenticity and much more ownership if you're able to dialogue, if you're able to choose what you're going to say. Even if it is still scripted, there's choices for you to choose from. You can make it more along your morals, along your ethics. So I would like to see that because it makes your character more you.
So what you're saying is you get a lot more immersed into the game.
Yes, I would be much more if I knew that my choices as my character in Tesso were going to affect the way that my character was viewed, going to change the way that I played my character, was going to change the way that my reputation went in the game. I would actually be willing to write a backstory for my character before I even started it, which I've never done before. But I would love to feel like I could have a reason to be that involved with the lore and understanding the dialogue, understanding the quest, more so than just a mindless repetition of, oh, I killed 20 birds so I could get 5 feathers and turning it in for a few gold.
So we know Elder Scrolls Online is almost fully voice acted. Knowing that, someone made a comment that it's going to be more similar to Skyrim. Did anybody play Oblivion or any previous games before that? Unfortunately, I haven't, so I'm just curious. What was the quest system in that game? Did you feel immersed?
It was very similar. Oblivion, at least, was very similar to Skyrim.
Yeah, they were the questing and all that was very, very similar with the world interaction.
So when it comes to storytelling, what are you guys expecting to see? Obviously, we know when you start off, when you create your new character, you start off as a prisoner. However, they haven't said exactly how Molag Bal is going to take your soul, but you start off not having a soul. So I don't know if there's going to be a cutscene as to he takes your soul beforehand, or if the tutorial zone is about that. So when it comes to storytelling, how do you guys want to see it? Do you guys want to see it strictly as your character being the hero? Do you want it to end off being a group event? How do you guys foresee Elder Scrolls Online storytelling progressing?
I'm not entirely opposed to like the personal hero story. I mean, I don't think that really breaks immersion or anything. I'd like to see something where you're just kind of like a normal prisoner. You know, maybe you're being kept in the tower or whatever, and then you break out, and then you interrupt a big summoning ritual that Manny Marco is summoning, maybe Molag Bal or something, and then you kind of attract the attention of him, and he takes your soul as kind of like a jest or a game. I think that'd be interesting.
What do you think, Gooey? Oh, you got a mouthful of chicken and waffles.
No, Skittles, actually. I don't know. I would say that I'd probably rather have a story for your character where there's nothing rather extraordinary, because that's also the same story that's been told in pretty much every MMO. There's in SWTOR, you're with the Jedi Knights, you were a Jedi with extraordinary power, and no one knows how they didn't notice you before. And with WoW, you're the hero of you and your friends are the heroes of pretty much any situation. Just slap the title right on there: hero of the light, hero of the horde, hero of the alliance, whatever. And I would like to have it be much more normal, much more you work your way up. It's more gradual than just, oh, you're a prisoner and you managed to kill all these guards and you got Molag Bal's attention and now you're amazing.
I could almost see the intro area to this almost being a wrong place, wrong time type of thing that actually inevitably turns into it like an inevitable fate. I can't say that damn word. Thing. That's been a very common theme with Elder Scroll. Just it always seems like you're nobody, just wrong place, wrong time, and then things happen. And I'd like them to continue with that. I think it's a nice change in what we're used to in the MMO world.
What do you think, Altair?
Gui and Garb hit it on the head. I don't want to see the automatically you're a hero. That hero complex, while is great, should be something you have to work your way up to when you hit max level and complete the primary storyline for questing and whatnot. At that point, you should be able to become some sort of important character in the world or hero, but only after you have proven your worth through leveling. Starting off as this big hero of the Alliance or strongest Jedi or whatever else you want to call it, like Gui said, start off as a low-life nobody who has to work their way up to prove they are who they are.
Yeah, and I have to agree with everybody. I mean, starting out as a nobody, or not even a nobody, but I mean, let's take Star Wars for example. You start off as a Jedi who apparently just finished training and is like this god of Jedis. I mean, as much as that sounds really awesome, in all honesty, to me, it kind of breaks immersion. I mean, it's you should start off as a regular Jedi, like Gui said. So
Might as well be a single player game at that point.
exactly. Then that's where I think where SOTOR failed when it came to the MMO aspect. I mean, every part of the story was solo. So that kind of brings me to the next question. Again, with storytelling, how do you guys want your story to be told? Do you want it to be told as you can do anything you want, or do you want it to require a group event?
I think it should be a mix of both. You should be able to kind of like with WoW, you can play most of the game or at least level up by yourself, but given if you wanted to, there's group quests and instances of public dungeons, stuff like that, that you can go in and be part of a group or something like having technical difficulties there, Garb?
No, apparently